Hi there, my name is Cali. Welcome. If you ever found yourself lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, watching the clock, or just being frustrated because sleep won't happen, this video is for you. Today, we're going to talk about a powerful technique within CBT-I, or cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, called stimulus control, and how it helps to retrain your brain to associate the bed with sleep again. Stimulus control is not about forcing sleep to happen. It's about changing the environment so that sleep can happen more naturally. All right, let's dive in. Now, again, if you've ever been awake in bed, staring at the ceiling, watching the clock, overthinking about the day's tasks or worries ahead, this video is for you. So, what's really happening during this period of time? Oversleep or over time, poor sleep can change the meaning of the bed. So, as you can imagine, the more that you lie awake in bed, staring at the ceiling, worrying about the frustrations of the day, when this happens time and time again, the body can then associate the bed with wakefulness or worry or overthinking or frustration or planning. Even though you're tired, the bed has now become the place for this to happen. The brain learns patterns, and as this happens more continuously and more consistently, the brain starts to learn when I'm in bed, I'm awake. Now, this is not your fault. It's a learned pattern, but just like it was learned, it can be unlearned. So, what is stimulus control? Stimulus control retrains the brain, and the goal is very simple. The bed equals sleep. The bed does not equal wakefulness. When we change what happens when sleep is not happening, magic can happen. So, what are some of the rules within stimulus control? Core rule number 1, use the bed only for sleep and intimacy. So, what this means is if you are in bed, if you're not being intimate or sleepy, we're not going to be doing things like phone scrolling, watching TV, reading the news, problem solving, writing the emails for the day, planning for tomorrow. All these things keep the brain alert while you are in bed. Core rule number 2, go to bed when sleepy, not just tired. There's a difference there. Tired can still be wired. So what does sleepy look like? Sleepy looks like heavy eyes, slower thoughts, head nodding when you're trying to stay awake. Those are actually sleepy symptoms. It's not always just I feel tired and want to lay down. Core rule number 3, if sleep isn't happening, get out of the bed. Now, this is not a punishment. This is protection for your sleep. Staying in bed when you're awake teaches the body the wrong lesson. So what to do instead? If you are awake, I want you to get out of bed. Go to another room or maybe sit in a chair within your bedroom. Keep the lights low and do something calm and boring until you feel sleepy again. Now, this does include things like no phones or no news, no problem solving. We want to keep things very low stimulating and again, just calm and boring. Now, a little tip. If you do find yourself ruminating and thinking of worries and frustrations, it can be a good idea to redirect your thoughts from a more fear-based place, like, am I going to function well tomorrow if I don't sleep well tonight? Are people going to notice that I look tired? These are all fear-based thoughts. Instead, I want you to bring it to a more safe and relaxed place. And one of the ways to do that is by thinking of the things that you are grateful for. When you start to think, I'm grateful for my warm, cozy bed, or I'm grateful for the wonderful meal I had with friends today, or I'm grateful for the air I breathe, or the home that provides me warmth, it changes that thought process from a more fear-based place to a more safe and relaxed place. Now, when sleepiness does return, let's just pretend you went into another room. Maybe you were reading a book quietly. You started to see those sleepy symptoms of the head nodding, the eyes closing. Maybe you reread that same page over and over because you didn't comprehend. That's when you can return to bed again and try to fall asleep once more. Now, you may repeat this pattern more than once per night, and that's normal and that's okay, especially in the beginning. Now, stimulus control also applies in the middle of the night for those awakenings, not only if you're awake for a long period of time, but also if your mind is just racing, or maybe this frustration and anxiety builds, or you just feel like you're wide awake. It may just be a good idea to leave the bed automatically because, again, staying in bed usually makes it worse, and it tells the body that the bed is for wakefulness. Now, why does leaving the bedroom help? Getting out of bed can, number one, break that frustration loop. When you're laying in bed hoping and praying for sleep to happen and it doesn't, it can be so frustrating. And if you leave the room, you actually kind of take control back and you say, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not sleeping, so I'm going to go into the other room and do something calm and boring until I feel sleepy again. Again, it breaks that frustration loop and it gives you control again over your own body. It also reduces sleep anxiety. If you're laying in bed kind of frustrated, a lot of times you may start to get anxiety about the day ahead or how you're going to perform at work tomorrow. And again, leaving the bedroom and doing something relaxing switches your focus to maybe something a little bit more relaxing and appropriate and can minimize some of that sleep anxiety. And it also teaches the brain that wakefulness does not live in the bed. In fact, if we're not sleeping, we're not going to be in bed anymore. And it really breaks that association that may have occurred that the bed equals wakefulness. Now, I want you to remember too that this can sound difficult at first, and you're not necessarily giving up on trying to go back to sleep. You're just letting it return a little bit more naturally. So why does this work? Your brain learns through repetition and consistency. Just like it learned that the bed equals wakefulness, it can relearn that the bed equals sleep. And stimulus control does that by reducing the conditioned arousal response, again, lowering some of that nighttime anxiety and rebuilding trust between the brain and the bed. And over time, sleep can just become more natural and easier. So what does this feel like at first? At first, you might feel like this feels backwards, or won't this wake me up even more, or I'm going to be out of my bed all night long. And some of those things may be true in the short term. But with consistency, what usually starts to happen over around 2 to 3 weeks is you find there's less of a struggle to fall asleep. There is a faster return of sleepiness, and there are shorter wake periods. Now, a gentle reminder that stimulus control is not all about rigid rules. You can modify this during an illness. You can be flexible during travel. And really, you can be kind to yourself on hard nights. What really matters more than perfection is consistency. Now, with stimulus control, you can take your bed back. Sleep is not always something that you chase. And when the conditions are right, it will arrive again on its own. Thank you for joining me about this video on stimulus control, and hope to see you with another video soon.